Okay, so this is project 1 in typography. We're working on those funky cool letters and combining them with type, and we're getting expressing the spirit or essence of the word through an illustrated initial letter and then some type that kind of supports that. So we're going to print this. So here's how you print. First, save your document. Make sure, mine is saved, I think, but I'm going to save it. Now I'm going to share with you printing to our printers, and then I also want to share with you if you wanted to print from your printers at home or if you want to print from Kinko's or something. Kinko's will not carry Creative Suite, most latest version of InDesign, so you may have to create a PDF, and so I'm going to also talk about printing from a PDF. At home you might also have to print from a PDF. There is one other emergency thing I'm going to talk about because InDesign can be really squirrely. It has been the last 2 semesters where we work on it and it gives us I think not an error type 11, but when we go to print it gives us this weird 0 command error, and I need to share with you what to do in case you get that error because InDesign will not let you print from it. So I have a lot to share with you in regards to printing and problem solving, knowing what the problems are that you might have. So if we have no problems, this is how we would print from InDesign to our printers, okay? So it's a simple file and print, and what we would choose instead of the HP 8150 black and white printer, we would choose either the Xerox 7800A or B printer. I think the A printer has, I think it's pretty much loaded with paper, I checked earlier. So that's a color printer. Now, you don't want to just hit print because you probably won't be happy with what you get. So now we need to set some things up. So here on the far left, where it says General, Setup, Marks and Bleeds, and so on, we want to click on Setup. Now, I'm going to print to tabloid because I think that right now with letter, it won't show my crop marks. Okay, so I need to print to a larger size. I know in the assignment sheet it said print to an 8.5 by 11, but if we print to 8.5 by 11, it may cut the crop marks off and we won't know where to cut the graphic. So you'll see when I do the mounting demonstration why crop marks are so important. So I believe we'll go ahead and print to the 11 by 17, which is called tabloid. I didn't see 11 by 17 anywhere, so I look for the word tabloid. Now we do want this to position in the center of the page. Right now it's positioned in the upper left corner. So here where it says page position under options, we want to change that from upper left to centered. Not centered horizontally or centered vertically, but centered. Centers both centered horizontally and vertically. We're still not done. There's a lot to printing. We want to turn on our crop marks. By the way, make sure when you're printing and when you are working with Kinko's and stuff, make sure they turn off scale to fit. Because by default, many of your systems have scale to fit turned on, and it won't print it out the right size. And you won't even bother to measure, and you won't even realize it's printing the wrong size. Because you just assume it's printing what it's supposed to. So make sure scale to fit is turned off. By default, ours is off, but yours might be on. Now the next thing is marks and bleeds. I need to turn on crop marks. So again, under General and Setup and this thing over here on the left, marks and bleeds, I want to only choose crop marks. I don't need all printers marks. Those will just get in the way of some things. So we'll just hit crop marks. And we want to go ahead, even though we have a bleed set up in the document we created it, we want to go ahead and get in the habit of unchecking Use Document Bleed Settings and type in P9, which is 1/8 of an inch. We want to type in the bleed at 1/8 of an inch or P9. And I hit this link to make them all go to P9. You don't need to include slug area. Please don't bother. So the 3 areas we went to were General. We changed the printer type to color. We didn't have to change anything else here. We went to Setup. We changed the paper size to tabloid just to accommodate crop marks. And we told the page position to be centered. And in Marks and Bleeds, we turned on crop marks and we unchecked Use Document Bleed Settings and set our bleed to 9 points, which is 1/8 of an inch. Now I can click Print and hopefully it'll print. Now I have to wait because what will happen here is the 7800 will send me confirmation. If you're curious as to what it's doing, you can look down on the dock, and sometimes the little printer comes up there. Because I'm an instructor, I get charged $0. So I'm sorry. If you might also get this, which is fine. I have people claiming they're getting charged for something, but I say, did you even read this? Does it say you're getting charged $0? And then they go, oh, yes, it is. I said, okay, don't complain. You're not getting charged. Just print again. That's what I understand. I'm not sure how long that's going to last, but I understand that might be a nice gift right now. Okay, so I hit yes, that I'm accepting the print. And then what I do is I go to the printer and it comes out. Okay? And I feel fairly confident it's going to come out. So I'm going to go to my next printing scenario. Let's say you're going to Kinko's or Office Max or Staples and you want to print your InDesign file. They will not have the most recent version of InDesign. So what you guys need to do is you guys need to go to File, and you go about halfway down, and you go to Adobe PDF Presets, and you want a high quality print. So this PDF is going to create a high quality print PDF. So we say, there we go. It will give you an export. I name this file Jeffrey. For me, I'm taking it to the desktop because I don't have on my flash drive and quick and dirty, so I'm just putting it on the desktop. I hit save. Here, you definitely want crop marks on as well. Under general, you don't need to do anything. Under compression, you don't do anything because this is already high quality. That's the compression is high quality. But on marks and bleeds, turn on your crop marks and set your bleed to P9, which is also 1/8 of an inch. And then click OK. I'm going to hit enter. And what it should have done is it should have created a PDF on my desktop. There it is. I'm going to open it. I investigate. I look at it, make sure everything looks okay. Here are the crop marks. Those let me know where to cut it out. And when I take this to Kinko's or FedEx, just make sure when they go to print it, they don't have scale to fit turned on. But I can print from this by going to File. Actually, I don't like even printing from Preview, so don't print from Preview. Quit Preview. Open up your PDFs in Acrobat. So I have Adobe Acrobat Pro on this computer. Now, if you don't have Adobe Acrobat Pro, I suppose you could try to print from Preview. But if I click and drag this file down to the Acrobat image on the taskbar there, the dock, it will open in Acrobat. And I can print from Acrobat, assuming it opens. It's taking a sweet time, though.
I put mine in teachstraw1.pdf. Is that okay?
Yeah, seems like it would be okay. Now I'm going to print this. I'm just going to File and Print. Here it looks the print window looks very different, but it's the same information. I would choose the 7800 color A. Right now it says shrink oversized pages. This is by default clicked on. You don't want that. You just want it to be actual size. Okay. Here it's also printing to an 8.5 by 11, so I need to find the 11 by 17 paper, and it does cut off the crop marks on an 8.5 by 11. So I need to go to the Advanced button, which is up at the top. This is where we find our paper. And that's at least where I think I find the paper. Okay, hold on. I have got to change my resolution here. This is really maddening. Okay, give me a second. Okay. You should have like an OK button at the bottom, and mine does not. It's like hiding. And I don't have a back button here either. So I'm going to hit enter, go back. Okay, great. Oh, okay. I can't see stuff on here because the resolution on the monitor is really bad. Down in the lower left-hand corner, you hit page setup. This is where you find your paper size. My apologies. I can't see stuff, so therefore I'm like, where is it? So it's page setup. Let me hide my doc for just a second. Click on page setup, and you hit yes. And here is really important when you're printing from Acrobat. For Format 4, you would instead choose any printer. Make sure this is the same printer that you have in the original window that you opened for printing. And for paper size US letter, you want to change that to tabloid. Don't use tabloid oversized. That's actually a bigger size of paper. It's 12 by 18, and we don't have 12 by 18 in there. And it will keep beeping at you, telling you resources required. That means you're printing to the wrong paper size. So make sure you use tabloid. Hit OK. Now you can see the preview. The crop marks are nice and cozy and fit in there really nicely. So I will hit print, and it will print again. It will come back up with the telling me how much it's going to charge me. If you're having problems with printing, it never comes up. There's the icon down the bottom, which you can click on. Now, I'm not going to have this print because I don't want to waste printing materials because I already have one in there. So I'm going to hit no, but normally you hit yes. Okay. Now, the last ditch effort on printing when nothing is going right, and we've had this happen multiple times in the labs. Last semester, I kept seeing it down in the lab when people were trying to print. They would go to print from InDesign, and it would give them the zero command message, which meant it could not print. So this is the last ditch resort for printing. I call it going around the back door. Like, you know, you can't, everything else is locked, so you got to find something that's unlocked. So this is not the first resort. This is the last resort. So let's go to the last resort, which is File, Export. And you can export this as an EPS that we can open in Photoshop and print from Photoshop. Again, this is not normal. This is a last-ditch Plan C sort of thing, okay? But I want you to be prepared in case you need this. So I'm going to say this is an EPS. This is super important. You just don't hit, OK, export. You want to read stuff. Is it CMYK? Is it TIFF? Yes. Do we have a bleed? Yes. Set your bleed. Go to advanced. Make sure nothing here needs to be checked. I don't want medium resolution. I want high resolution. You don't want lower resolution. So I hit export. It's exporting right now. I'm going to minimize this. It's going to be on the desktop for just a second. So here is the EPS file right here. I can open this in Photoshop. Give it a second. Oops, this is super problematic. It's going to open it at 8.25 by 8.25. That's not the problem because that has the bleed, the extra stuff for the bleed. This is a huge problem, 72 pixels per inch. You're going to be so sad if you don't change that to 300. Okay, because what it's doing, it will open it up in 72, you'll print it, and it'll look all pixely. But you have to change that to 300. So this, again, this is the last-ditch effort type stuff. Go ahead and flatten the image, which is layers, the little window off to the side. Flatten the image. And then you can print from Photoshop. So that's File, Print. Ugh. I don't know what is going on with this monitor, why everything is getting cut off. But you would choose your color printer. You don't have to worry about crop marks because you put them already on there when you wrote the EPS. You definitely want scale to fit turned off. And you may have to go to print settings to set your paper size a little bit bigger. Oh, we don't want two-sided. We want one page. Let's show some details. We don't want letter. We want tabloid. There we go. That's where that is there. So to find tabloid paper is in 3 different places, depending, you know, like in InDesign it was in one place, in the PDF it was another, and in Photoshop it's in a whole different place. No wonder I'm having a hard time. I hit save, and then I can print it. And this will print from Photoshop. I'm not going to print just to save, just because I want to save ink, okay? But if I were to print from Photoshop, this is my Plan C. It's not your Plan A or B, okay? So I'm going to escape that. So that concludes Plan A printing, which is printing directly from InDesign, turning on your crop marks, setting up your 11 by 17, getting your right printer. Plan B, which is saving it as a PDF with crop marks on, and then printing it through Acrobat, or taking it to some place and printing it, just making sure they tell them. Don't be afraid, guys, to tell them. Please make sure when you're printing this that you don't scale to fit the medium. Turn that off, because they do it every time. They leave it on. Don't be afraid to open up and tell them not to do something or to do something. You're paying for it. The third option was if you can't print from InDesign, it gives you a 0 command error, then you would go to File, Export, and export as an EPS, open in Photoshop, make sure it's 300 pixels per inch, and print from there. Okay, Plan A, Plan B, Plan C. I'm going to stop recording.